I've got 3 teams in a row that I'm picking for. Seattle is now on the clock at number 5 overall. And you've got an interesting debate now because Seattle needs defensive line help on both sides. You need it in the interior, and you need it off the edge as well. To me, the interior is the area of their biggest weakness. Their run defense was atrocious last season. Jalen Carter, before his legal trouble, was considered to go number 1 overall to Chicago. This was before the Bears traded out. I think Jalen Carter is still extremely high, maybe the best player available on many draft boards. It is on Dane Brugler's, who we use a lot of his resources off the Athletic. So I'm going to say at number 5, the Seattle Seahawks end up taking Jalen Carter, defensive lineman from Georgia here. I think that's an immediate boost. It makes their defense just so much better. Interesting to see that Will Anderson has fallen out of the top 10 here, or out of the top 5. I'm sorry. And now you get a very interesting debate because my final pick here in this run, you got the Detroit Lions on the clock at number 6, mocked to have a cornerback here. And in my previous mocks, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon, goes at number 6. But you've got Will Anderson there. And to me, Dan Campbell is a former tight end, but he loves his defense. He's a get in the dirt, get your hands dirty, and get after the quarterback kind of guy. We've seen what he's done with Aiden Hutchinson. With Will Anderson on the board, I'm going to say they take best player available. So Will Anderson, edge rusher out of Alabama now, is the pick at number 6. I know that just breaks Arizona hearts, who were hoping that he might fall. But now you do have potentially the best cornerback available on the board as well. And that's also a need for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and like I said, when we were talking about this trade down for Arizona, they are in complete rebuild mode. I know they have their franchise quarterback. I know they have Kyler Murray locked up for a while, but man, it just feels like they are hitting reset as a franchise right now, and they're about to trade away DeAndre Hopkins. They're about to trade away Budda Baker, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's been requesting a trade, so they need help everywhere. Yeah, we'd love to have Will Anderson fall to 7, but honestly, yeah, it's a best player available at this point. Christian Gonzalez looks like an awesome pick. That's a need. I'm also thinking Tyree Wilson wouldn't be a bad pickup for the Cardinals here as they look to replace pass rush, left behind by some losses there as well. But I think I'm really between Christian Gonzalez and the offensive line. And I think that the bigger need overall, Christian Gonzalez, I think, is the best player available. The bigger need for the Cardinals is on the offensive line. So, I think it's a 2-player race between Gonzalez and Skronsky. We're going to roll with Gonzalez just as the best player available, combination of need for the Cardinals and best player available as they look to rebuild that defense. Mitch, you mentioned Caleb Williams earlier. I think the Cardinals are going to be the team that Caleb Williams is on in 2024 because I think somehow, some way, Kyler is just the Kyler experiment, I think, is coming to an end in Arizona. As Cliff Kingsbury's gone, they're going to be looking to build for the future and build around that quarterback. So look for Arizona to take maybe the best player available here and then probably go heavy on the offensive and defensive line throughout the rest of the draft.
It's a good pick. I like that pick. Number 5 overall player on Dane Brugler's draft big board. He is my cornerback number 1 as well. Long, rangy, amazing hips. He's so athletic and had 4 interceptions for Oregon last year. Of course, started at Colorado, followed his position coach up to Eugene when Dan Lanning hired him last season. And Gonzalez was, in my mind, the best corner. I think Joey Porter Jr. has a legit argument for that. Devin Witherspoon is a very good corner out of Illinois as well. But total package, a guy that I think has the highest NFL ceiling is Christian Gonzalez. Good pick for Arizona. I think that addresses a huge need and still it allows you to add real talent, real long-term potential while also probably being able to tank for Caleb Williams next year. So I like that pick. Puts the Atlanta Falcons now on the clock at number 8. And I tell you what, Atlanta is running this card up to the podium. They thought maybe Arizona would take the big edge rusher out of Texas Tech. You obviously go with a cornerback, so Atlanta sprints this to the podium. Tyree Wilson, edge rusher from Texas Tech, 6'5" behemoth. a motor like unlike any other. I think in this draft class, from the edge rushing perspective, he's got more power than Will Anderson. And I think he's going to end up being the better run defender over Will Anderson long term here. Anderson's got the better pass moves. There's no doubt about it. And probably a higher ceiling, although I think it's a much closer gap than many would say. But Tyree Wilson is going to Atlanta, who just needs anybody to rush the passer. It has been it's been a kind of a void of talent since Dan Quinn left. That defense has stunk, and they get a piece that I think is going to be there and be really solid for them for the next 5 years in Tyree Wilson.
I think that's a fantastic pick. I think there's even an argument to say that Tyree Wilson could be the better NFL player, not just run stopper, than
Yeah.
Will Anderson. I think
Oh,
that
I've made that argument.
yeah, this is a bargain pick for Atlanta. I think you're absolutely right. If he's on the board, they are sprinting to the podium to pick up Tyree Wilson. And yeah, I think that's a fantastic pick for them. I've seen some people mention that Bijan could go number 7 to Atlanta. I, I don't think that would be a good move for their franchise. It'd be an exciting pick. I think it'd be fun for just draft night drama, but not
Yeah.
a very good team building pick for them.
Yeah, there's so many other needs. Look, if there's a team, the teams in the top 10 especially, don't take the running back. You can get that production from the third round on. Let's actually build with some elite cornerstones at more valuable positions. I agree there. Chicago Bears now on the clock at number 9. They traded down from number 1 with the Carolina Panthers. They traded out of that once they basically admitted they weren't going to take that quarterback and didn't really know what Jalen Carter, his legal status was going to turn out to be. Offensive line, specifically at the tackle position, defensive line, and cornerback are their top needs. Where are the Bears going after getting DJ Moore from the Panthers and a host of draft resources?
Yeah, and if DJ Moore was not picked up by the Bears, I think you go Jackson Smith-Njigba here and get Justin Fields a real awesome weapon to throw to, his former teammate at Ohio State. But with the Bears situation, I think priority number 1 has to be protecting Justin Fields. So we're going to go with another Ohio State guy. We're going to go with Paris Johnson Jr. Out of Ohio State. And I think that, they are going to be just locked in. Devin Witherspoon would be an awesome pick for them as well here, but I think that they're really focused on protecting Justin Fields. They've made a commitment to him, and they've made a decision to, not go after these other quarterbacks. They made a decision to trade out of number 1. So Justin Fields is their guy. Let's go get the number 1 tackle, according to Dane Brugler, in this draft in Paris Johnson Jr. and protect him.
I think it's a great pick. Johnson Jr. is a massive human being, just a mountain of a man. He's listed as the 12th best player, according to The Athletic. Johnson allowed a sack on just 0.2% of his pass block snaps as a starter.
Insane.
At Ohio State. Two times out of 910 snaps, he allowed a sack, which is a just mind-boggling total.
Absolutely insane.
He's huge. He's big. He's physical. He's going to manhandle edge rushers. He can protect in the running game as well, although clearly his strength is pass blocking. The Bears need a franchise left tackle, and I think Paris Johnson Jr. is a great pick here. If they value that versatility, I think Peter Skoronski could be the pick, and that's where you're seeing a lot of mock drafts go. But franchise left tackle for sure is either 1A or 1B, depending on how much you value that position flex.
Right.
So either way, whichever offensive lineman they take from the Midwest there, I think it's going to be a great pick. Johnson Jr. is my top graded tackle. Skoronski, I've graded him as a guard because I think that's where he ultimately slides into. I think the Bears are very, very happy with that pick at number 9.
And that's exactly why I took Johnson over Skoronski, just because, Skoronski can be flexible. I think you could play him at tackle in a pinch, but his long-term NFL future, where he's probably going to be a Pro Bowler, is at guard. And that's just not as big of a need for the Bears at this point.
Yeah. So the Eagles now on the clock at number 10. They need interior line help. They need defensive interior, wide receiver, safety. It feels really early for most of those picks. But as a Cowboys fan, we're based here in Dallas. I think we're absolutely disgusted that Peter Skoronski falls to the Eagles here. Their interior of that offensive line is aging, and as they continue to look to build around Jalen Hurts, I think you'd love another weapon out wide, but to me, 10 is a little early here. I think Philly would be forcing a trade down, and who knows, they might find a partner who wants to come up to number 10. Although the way the board is falling right now, with 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 4, to me that's a signal that teams are going to be a little bit more hesitant to trade up. They're wanting to see, okay, more of our options are falling down the board. So to me, Philly's just forced to take a luxury pick here at number 10, which originally was the New Orleans Saints pick, and they're going to take Peter Skoronski, from Northwestern. Again, like I mentioned, a guy who can play tackle, can play guard. He's kind of the ultimate utility man on the offensive line, and I think the NFC East weeps at this pick because the Eagles just continue to build towards a championship, right? They keep winning the division. They keep giving them opportunities to win a Super Bowl, and I think they're going to find that second Super Bowl here in the next 2 to 3 years. Honestly, their team is that good.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and the draft capital that they have from a fellow NFC East fan is just absolutely disgusting. They can make that number 10 pick an absolute luxury pick at almost any position. If they wanted to go get Bijan, if they wanted to go get, I wouldn't go get Bijan at number 10, but if they wanted to, they could absolutely make that luxury pick and still be totally fine from a team building standpoint. So it's terrifying and fascinating at the same time from our perspective to see what Philly's going to do with that pick.
Gracious, how about